The show you're about to listen to is pulled from our Nerd Radio, our national NerdNet Radio Direct, streamed every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Between each segment will be music samples from our live broadcast. So if you like what you hear and you want to come and join us for some tunes, talks, and some cool vibes, then make sure to join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central. Until then, please enjoy. Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the show. It's Nick and
Nate
here for weekly nerdy news. We've got some headlines for you. We got some big stories for you. So let's jump right into it. Looks like Monster Hunter is looking to go toe-to-toe with Wonder Woman. Now, basically, the gist of it is that Monster Hunter was supposed to come out, I think, sometime later, basically. But instead of getting delayed, they moved it forward after what they heard that Wonder Woman was coming out. So now they're trying to compete with Wonder Woman. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. It scares me, honestly, because not because of the monsters, but because from what I saw of what the trailer they've shown of Monster Hunter, I'm like, I'm not a big Monster Hunter fan, but this looks dope. Like, this looks like a good time.
Yeah.
So I didn't care for Wonder Woman, the first one. I thought it was a very boring movie. So, but I know Wonder Woman has the star power, especially with the hype around the Snyder Cut for Justice League. So there's a lot of factors coming into this that I could see Wonder Woman dominating. But I'm also interested to see, because it's one of those that, which is going to be the better movie. Like, we haven't had one of those, I feel like, in a while competing like that, or at least one that I've seen.
True. I mean, especially since obviously, now we don't have to worry. Well, not worry, but now that we don't have theaters to go to, like, one thing has been coming out at a time. Like, back in the day, it was Tenet, and that was literally the only movie that was releasing around it. Yeah. And so now, to have these two kind of going toe and toe, that's actually kind of cool. Like, it brings us back or whatever. It's like, oh, it's, fight night at the box office or whatever. So it's interesting. If I had to put my money on it, I would put it on Wonder Woman because, like you said, that star power. And whether people like it or not, they get invested in the connected universes. Whereas Monster Hunter, it's a video game movie, which those are notoriously bad. Not only that, but it's attached to Paul W.S. Anderson. And there was definitely a cult following of Resident Evil. For fuck's sake, it had 6 goddamn movies. But they were also good? Just known as bad fucking movies.
Exactly.
So I don't think people are expecting this to be good, and therefore not even... There is even some whiny-ass bitches online who had to point out that, well, the weapons that she's using wouldn't affect the dragon that she was fighting. Like, fuck off, dude. Like, I get it. You should be faithful to the adaptation or whatever, but it's like, maybe the dual blades just looked really cool and they wanted to get her this nice hero moment. But instead the internet's like, well, actually, the fire wouldn't do anything to the dragon, and instead you would need the lance. The lance would be the best way to...
That's like, it's okay. It's okay, guy.
Yeah.
Like, I understand.
Come on now, guy.
Come on. And I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, because, what was the last one we had that was... Okay.
No, it's fine. Keep going. I had the next fucking headline.
I would say, what was the last one we got? Tomb Raider? That was the last theatrical video game release movie.
No, Sonic. Sonic. We got Sonic.
That's right. I still haven't seen Sonic.
Well, in my opinion, Sonic has kind of redeemed certain video game movies, because it wasn't awesome, but it also wasn't god-awful terrible.
It could have been.
Like it could have been. So, now let's get into it. COCO calling quits. That's right. Your man, Mr. Conan O'Brien, could be calling it quits. This is like legitimately like, oh God, like what the hell? Like he's been going on for 10 years now. So let's take a quick look here. Wrong thing. Whoops. So legendary comedian Conan O'Brien is preparing to make a major change. I don't know why they did that. So
changes.
We'll close the curtains at the end of the 10th season, June 2021. Over the years, O'Brien has presented 1,400 episodes of his spirited talk show. I feel like out of all the talk show people, Conan O'Brien has always been my favorite. There is Stephen Colbert, and he is my favorite. Like, he would be my favorite, but I know him more for the Colbert Report rather than the Late Show host or whatever. So, like, I don't necessarily count that because it's like, if we're talking about, like, legendary talk show host, it's him. And the funny thing is just how much his career was basically fucked over by Jay Leno. Jay Leno, I can't remember what year it was, but Jay Leno just suddenly decided, I don't want a late show anymore. Instead, I want an early show. So he started doing it at 7 o'clock. Conan O'Brien took over his slot. Jay Leno wasn't doing good in his new slot, so they kicked him back to his old slot and kicked Conan O'Brien. And then for 6 months, he couldn't do anything under contract, and then eventually went over to TBS. So it's like they completely fucked him over at NBC, and all because they were trying something new with Jay Leno, and he failed. Conan O'Brien didn't fucking fail. Jay Leno did. And the fact that Conan was the one, that's what I feel like that's where the Team COCO, chant, or not chant, but mantra, I don't know what the fuck you want to call it, but that's where that originally came from, was when he was getting fucked over by NBC. So, yeah, anyways. Thoughts?
I think it's cool, and I especially think that Conan is, like you were saying, one personality and talk show host, that the fact that he's going to a weekly variety show instead of
that's the part I didn't mention. Yeah, he's going from his talk show, and now he's going to be doing a weekly variety show. So yeah, go on.
So like that's cool to me because that's Conan obviously is such a talented and creative person, and to be able to see him flex those muscles in like this kind of variety program instead of a talk show he's done for, at least on TBS for the Conan show about since 2010 is what the article said.
Right,
so it's cool to see that, but also like change like this is exciting, because and like I did that. Yeah, exactly. That's why I said it earlier. But like I love the quote they give from O'Brien here, where he's like, in 1993, Johnny Carson gave me the best advice of my career: as soon as possible, get to a streaming platform. Probably didn't say that in '93. And then he says, I'm thrilled that I get to continue doing whatever the hell it is I do on HBO Max, and I look forward to a free subscription.
I mean, that's like he's so self-aware, especially like, no offense to him obviously, but especially for his age, like his jokes haven't gotten older with him necessarily. He's still a child at heart, and he brings like such a it's gonna be weird that there's no longer. Which is funny because obviously for the last couple of years I haven't had TBS, for instance, so I haven't been watching him. But at the same time, it's interesting. So yeah, everybody give COCO some love. Moving on up, Predator stalks again. That's right, Predator will be coming back, and this one's interesting just because it's one of those that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's one of those like, oh my God, you're at this again? Like, did you not learn your lesson from the last, 5 freaking times? It's almost like Terminator at this point. You know what I mean? Like, they've tried it so many times, and they've like, oh, let's bring on this director and this director. And they've even gone back to the well and had the original director try it again, but then he did this corporate version of it where they had, like, Keegan Michael Peel or whatever, and the guy who played the Punisher and some other random guy, and then the the Predator, not that there's anything wrong with it, was going after an autistic kid because he was the next step in evolution. Like, I get when you want to have a message and you want it to be good, but it's like interesting that they would choose that direction. Once again, not that there's something wrong with that, not that autistic people aren't geniuses in their own rights. I think even some people say that who's the guy with the weird hair? And he made the atom bomb.
Oh, why am I fucking Einstein?
Einstein! Jesus Christ!
Jesus Christ!
I hate every time I try to grab a name, my brain will go Matt Damon. But anyways, freaking Einstein. Even some people say that Einstein, to a certain degree, might have had like Asperger's. He was somewhere on the spectrum. You know what I mean? So, point being is that it makes sense that maybe an autistic person would have that level of genius, but it was just such a weird and shoehorned way to put it in there, and just it was the original director, so you would think like a really good example is like Mad Max Fury Road. He had the original director and creator of that made Mad Max Fury Road, and that ended up being freaking awesome. So I guess maybe there was a part of me that thought this was going to be the same, and then ended up being So yeah, what are you thinking?
So I had the exact same reaction when I clicked on that article and the headline was like Predator will be coming back. I'm like, oh, fucking roll my eyes. And then the byline says 10 Cloverfield Lane's Dan Trachtenberg will be directing. And I went, oh, okay, hold on a second.
Right.
And so as I'm reading through this, and that's the other thing it shows is that Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, writer and producer, Patrick Azen is also going to be on there. And it's like, okay, 10 Cloverfield Lane is great. Such a great fucking thriller. Really, really enjoyed that movie. Jack Ryan, really good revitalization of that character that's brought on Amazon. So I'm like, okay. Like now I'm interested. And you know, the article notes, and this comes from GameSpot, of course. Article notes, you know, about, you know, the basically what you were saying, the last few outings haven't been great. You know, the Predator Hunting Grounds game came out and got a 4 out of 10 based on what they're saying here. So,
4 out of 10.
So, but what's really cool about Predator, and I think what makes it different from Terminator, and I'll say this, I feel like it's arguably that when James Cameron came back for, what was it, Dark Fate?
Yeah.
That was the least bad one out of all the other ones, newer ones that came out.
But it had all the whammon.
All the whammon in it. But no, so what's different about that is like Terminator after a while got so fucking convoluted, even from the beginning. Whereas what they kind of did, I feel like with Predator and even Predators, the movie that came out with all that all-star cast, is there's a lot more lore that we don't know that they can add to it. Adrian Brody.
I know that fucking name. Why do I know that name?
That they can add to it, and it all makes sense because it's like new information. So
right.
I think this will be interesting, knowing who's going to be pinned for it.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm always ready for another like nostalgic look into the 80s, but it's like the problem is that like when the Stranger Things came along, everybody's all high on like the 80s or whatever, but very few people were actually doing it right. So like whether you like it or not, Stranger Things did it right. Even up to season 3 or whatever. I would say maybe less as the seasons went on or whatever, but still they've done it right, you know. And even like it did the 80s right. But yeah, like there is a possible way to make it a modern movie, but make it feel like an 80s movie. There is a way to do that. You just have to capture that music magic. So I don't know. Moving on. DMZ, which is a comic book series, may become a movie, and it will be a HBO original. So this was actually kind of cool because I actually read the DMZ comic book series, and really good, really well written and everything. So yeah, really good. Interesting to see it happen. So, hold on. Give me just a second. God, motherfucking damn it.
God damn it, Bubba. Yeah, I'm interested to see what you're, because I don't know what this is. I'm not familiar with it.
Right.
Um, the only thing I can say is like I'm glad to see that whoever is in charge of content at HBO Max is really starting to like show their work. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of good stuff that's coming to that platform, and I don't pay for the service because I get it through, since I work for uh cable provider. Basically I get free well, yeah, anyway, I get discounted
Right.
cable and I have HBO included, so like I don't have to pay for it. But like that shit doesn't work sometimes, and HBO Max, the app, is still kind of fucked with that. So it's almost making me want to go ahead and just pay for the service and have it,
Yeah.
because like at this point I feel like I could justify paying $20 a month
True.
for HBO Max, because I mean they also have fucking Teen Titans on there, dude. The
Teen
original Teen
Titan.
Titans, all of them, and I'm like, yes. So um I feel like I can kind of get the context of what DMZ is. Is it because DMZ, basically stands for demilitarized zone. So, like, is it about what is it kind of typically about?
So
Story
basically, the
wise,
gist of it is that New York, Brooklyn, more like the island, right? Brooklyn's the island, right?
Manhattan.
Manhattan becomes a DMZ basically,
Mm.
and it's them surviving or whatever. So the fact that we have covert
Oh my
going on
god!
right
Holy
now,
shit! We don't fucking need this right now.
it might hit home in an interesting way, but
Yeah.
yeah. But that's enough about that. That's all the industry entertainment news that we have. Let's go on over to Nate for our video game news.
Hey everyone, it's Nate, and we're going to talk about video game news. No, so first thing we're going to talk about, kind of bringing back up, Call of Duty Cold War earlier.
Dudes.
Surprisingly, it didn't come out on top. Year after year like they typically do. So this article comes from GameSpot as well, and basically in the UK, Assassin's Creed Valhalla outsold Black Ops Cold War.
Yeah.
And let me see.
It's like if you scroll down, it gives you the whole list. UK sales charts for weeks ending November 14th, 2020.
Oh, okay, cool. Yes, thank you for saving me all that reading. So yeah, number one was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Number two was Black Ops Cold War. So it basically just outshined it. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales was number three. FIFA 21 is number four, which I think is kind of bullshit. Honestly, I really do.
Any sports game at this time getting anywhere on the charts is bullshit, because I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
They're still fucked.
They're all fucked. And the only reason they're even on the charts is because there was a bunch of gamers who only play sports games, and they don't realize that they're accidentally encouraging makers to just keep making their games shitty.
Yeah. I saw a screenshot from the recent NBA game, and I'm so mad about it. But anyway, I think that's bullshit, because the next games below it, number 5 is Animal Crossing New Horizons. Didn't play this one. We both have Switches. I don't know if you did. I can't really speak to Animal Crossing, but I feel like it should be higher. Demon Souls PS5 is number 6. Yeah. Number 7 is Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which that's good to see. Mario Kart 8. Minecraft on Switch for number 9. And then I feel so bad for Watch Dogs Legion because it's number 10. Wow. Like the only next gen game all the way at the bottom. But yeah, I don't think that's very...
Valhalla's number 1, and that's next gen.
The only next gen game on the bottom. Like, you get what I'm saying? The most recent next gen games are all the way on top. Watch Dogs Legion is all it has Minecraft Switch and everything on top of it. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's very surprising, because I think that Valhalla has really garnered a lot of interest UK wise, I think, because it's kind of in that like region area, Scandinavia, stuff like that. So
that's what the British like. They like the raping and pillaging. Oh, I'm gonna go get your biscuits.
But I don't think you've played Valhalla. Having played Cold War, where do you think? Do you think that makes sense? Do you see that?
I think a lot of people are being whining ass bitches, because, like, I feel like a lot of it came around because some of the PlayStation stuff, and it's to a certain degree, it's rightful to be spiteful. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. This is the first time in so long that I've actually been into a Call of Duty. So the fact that I'm finally back into it, I finally pulled my pants down and become a Call of Duty fuckboy. And it happens to be the fucking Call of Duty that nobody fucking wants. I'm like, damn it, I just got to this sex crave.
It's like you just got your first boner and no one wants to do anything with it.
Yeah, exactly. So, moving on.
So, PS5 is a lot of outselling. PS5 launch week sales in Japan were 5 times higher than Xbox X and S. Comes from GameSpot as well. I don't think this is surprising right off the bat. Do you? I mean, it's Japan. Of course, the PS5 will sell more in Japan.
Racist.
I mean, but let's see what the actual units were. PlayStation 5 has sold 118,000 units in the first 4 days in Japan, beating the Series X and S, which sold a combined total of 20,534 in the first 6 days when it went on sale.
That's a yikes moment.
That's a big fucking yikes.
Now, how much of that is because Xbox didn't have enough produced versus how much of it was because of the demand? You know, because it is, you make a good point as far as like PlayStation. Obviously, it's a Japanese company, and you know, Xbox is very American or whatever, but still, it's like, I don't know.
Well, it also has to do with the Microsoft and Xbox haven't been a big thing in Japan. Like most people play Sony and Nintendo. So, and I don't know if that has to do with the units, because I feel like there's more Xboxes out in the wild than there are PS5s, but that could just be in the US. But yeah. Interesting, not really interesting. The most interesting thing is the amount. Fucking 20,000 compared to 118. Yeah, that's
I would like a more definite answer. Like, what's the Mr. Worldwide of PlayStation and Xbox Series X? Because then I feel like that will really answer that question if it's a manufacturing or just because of the area that it's in. So, you know.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So for the next one here, this is one that I really kind of raise my eye at. Is Sony going to end up competing with Game Pass? This comes from GameSpot as well. Sony teases a PlayStation response to Xbox Game Pass. Let's see what this shit's about. PlayStation has already been trying to compete with... Okay, don't need to know that. Where are we getting at? When asked directly on what Sony might have planned in order to compete with Xbox Game Pass, Sony Interactive CEO Jim Ryan stated that there is news to come. Ryan also pointed out that the PlayStation does offer a competitor to Game Pass already. We have PlayStation Now, and that is available in a number of markets. No, baby, no, that's not the way that works.
Not even close to a competitor.
Not even close whatsoever in terms of everything, UI, fucking design. So
now go down below before the paragraph that says in the past few years Sony has already steadily trying to compete, and then the great first party IPs are all there, the great partner titles we did PlayStation or if the PlayStation 4, but getting a PlayStation 5 and taking out PS subscription, your basic that's not what I was thinking of. We're not going to...
Yeah, let me know when we find it.
Oh, here we go. We're not going down the road of putting new releases titles. Wow, that's not done. Into a subscription model. These games cost many millions of dollars, well over $100 million to develop. We just don't see that being sustainable.
So,
yikes.
So here's the thing. I don't think Jim Ryan's wrong. And I say that because Microsoft is Microsoft. Xbox.
But what's different? Does Microsoft not spend $100 million to develop something?
what I'm saying is I feel like when it comes down to financials, that Microsoft can take a bigger loss than Sony can, based on services provided. Because Sony has, of course, a lot of different other electronics, TVs.
Is that another racist thing?
No. It's a legitimate. Yeah, okay. It's a legitimate thing.
It's because we're Americans. Americans don't care about money.
But also, it has to do with this is one Sony pony to another. I feel like I am totally fine paying $60 to $70 a pop for a PlayStation exclusive. Like, I don't,
because the value's there.
Yes, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I can tell
What's
you.
What's that tell you about the value of Xbox games? Because
that it's not there. Honestly,
it's sad though, because if you do look at the exclusives of the last couple of years for Xbox, for instance, you've had a couple of bangers, but then you've also had like Sea of Thieves, which was almost like No Man's Ocean, and State of Decay, which was just basically Fallout 76. So it's an interesting situation, because it's like the value is there and people are showing Sony that they're willing to pay, but it's still discouraging that they're not even considering doing a new releases subscription model. Whether that is, it's more expensive for premium. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you get Amazon Prime. There's certain movies you can watch for free with ads, right? And then you get the Amazon Prime, and then there's certain movies that you can watch for free, quote unquote, and then certain ones that you rent, right? So it's weird that they wouldn't try something that's competing, because of course the standout moment is when he says, "Oh, there's news to come," but then he outright says that they're not going to be doing new games. I'm sorry, that means no news is to come. That is the news. The news is that you're not going to compete with Games Pass, because like it or not, Games Pass does have a competitive edge in the sense that they're giving brand new games, brand new day one games, hour one, minute one games of exclusives. Me and you could argue for days, even if we go down to the very metadata of reviews and stuff like that. Yes, Sony games are better reviewed. There are more of them, so the average just plays better to their favor. Because if you have one bad Xbox game, it makes the average tank, because there's only like 3 of them that come out every year or something like that. Which 3 is obviously over-exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like on a good year or whatever, we have like an exclusive every month, sometimes every other month. So, like, I get it. There's a lot of value there. But like I said, even if there was some kind of premium subscription, and that's what got us the exclusive of the month or something. I don't know.
It's interesting.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, we'll see what news is to come.
Speaking of news to come.
Speaking of actual legitimate news.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
You
don't think I'm putting the legit news in this programming?
No, I'm throwing shade at fucking GameSpot with that Jim Ryan shit. It's okay. Oh, they're teasing a competitor. There's news to come. Oh, here's actual news. Fucking IO Interactive, the developer behind Hitman, is working on a 007 game.
Yeet!
What? Let's see. I'm trying to see. Announced with an extremely short teaser on November 19th, Project 007 will be developed and published by IO Interactive with the full support of Eon Productions and MGM. On the game's official website, IO says it will feature a wholly original Bond story, so it means that there's going to be it's like Swiss cheese.
Yeah, right. Okay, can I just point out something? That IO Interactive, IOI, is suspiciously the same logo as the evil corporation from Ready Player One.
Let me get my hat, my tinfoil hat. What's mostly exciting about this is this will be an original.
Ignore me, thanks.
Well, see, I can't really talk to it because I still haven't seen Ready Player One. So, I gotta watch it. Yeah, that's one I haven't watched yet. But this is gonna be an origin game, and that's the first time we've seen something from the beginning for Bond.
James Bond.
Chicken not stirred. I find this interesting from IO because I am wondering how close it's going to be to Hitman. Because as much as I want to play the Hitman games, they just don't grab me like the new IO interactive ones, and I don't know
James
what it
Bond
is.
Will grab you.
Oh yeah, it will. Well, that's very nicely. He's a gentleman. But the fact of we're getting a 007 like origin game from a team who is best known for like these wide angle, not wide angle, but wide scenario options. Like, do this however you see fit, however you want to.
Right.
It's making me feel like not Splinter Cell, because it's not going to be a comparison, but we haven't had a good original like spy or espionage stealth game, I feel like, in a while. I guess you could argue that in Hitman, but something different,
Yeah.
I feel like this would be a little different. But this is actually
I
really
have
exciting.
no attachment to Hitman. I have maybe a small attachment to 007. I think in general, what makes me excited is seeing IO Interactive being able to do something like a Spider-Man PS4, like a Arkham series, where they take a well-known character and yet they're able to do whatever the hell they want. That's what makes Arkham and Spider-Man PS4 so good, is that they took a very well-known character and instead of having to adhere to whatever movie was coming out that year, instead of that, they took the overall license and just played it with the utmost respect and gave you so many Easter eggs that like only comic book nerds would know. And so now we have the potential to have the same thing, but now with this kind of spy espionage, which you're right, we haven't had one in a very long time. So that's enticing, regardless of if you are an Agent 47 fan or a 007 fan. It's enticing even if you just know the what's going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I again am excited for something like this. Yeah, sorry, I got caught off guard there. Excited for what the opportunity is going to be. Because here's the thing, I'm the same with you with James Bond. I don't have a great attachment. I like the movies, but one thing we forget, James Bond games typically are good for the most part. You had GoldenEye, and then you had the one that was on Xbox. I want to say it was Die Tomorrow or some shit like that. So their games are typically good. So it's a great team. So I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Definitely. I'm excited too. You're excited. Everyone's excited, Nate. So let's get to a music break so we can talk about the Video Game Awards. Talk about the nominees. We'll give our predictions and what we would like to win. All that good stuff coming up very soon. We'll see you right back. Right back? That was dumb. Why did I say it that way?
Remember my words and observe the best, yeah. Don't worry so much and don't let...
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the stream with ya boys, Nick and Nate. If you're listening to us live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time, thank you for joining us. You're awesome. If you're listening later, hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
But if you're listening live, you get to see this. Yeah. You don't know what that is because you're not watching live. But it's...
I'm just glad he didn't pull up his shirt and start licking his titty. That's
what
I'm
thankful for. Give him something
no,
to really...
God,
Oh,
no.
Fine. Guess we don't want to be demonetized. Anyways. So yeah, make sure live every Sunday, 11 a.m., where you can get the live Nick and Nate, not that other people.
Pre-recorded bullshit, Nick and Nate, which is the same Nick and Nate, just
Shut
on
up!
Sunday.
Don't tell them that. There's extra stuff like that. What just happened? I don't know. Anyways,
Your mom.
let's get into it. Jesus, just dicking around like a couple of schoolgirls.
Has this?
All right, so we have the VGAs. I guess it's actually not the VGAs anymore. I didn't even realize that. It's not even the VGAs anymore. It's just the TGA, the Game Awards. So we have the Game Awards announce their nominees for this year. We're going to skip over esports because we don't watch esports. I guess we can at least talk about best esports game. I lost him. Fuck. I lost Nate. So let's talk about best esports game. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, Fortnite, League of Legends, and Valorant. So Valorant, if you don't know, is like the only new one there. All the other ones are, well, I mean, I guess Call of Duty, but not really. Anyways, so what are you thinking?
For the esports game?
No, for something else.
Shut the fuck up. I honestly would say because the game specific is going to be for Modern Warfare. I would say Modern Warfare because I feel like, at least from my knowledge, it might have had a better esports presence this year.
Yeah.
Of course, League of Legends and Valorant have massive amounts of fans. So I could, well, at least League of Legends. I think Valorant kind of does.
Maybe it's just because of the circles that I'm in. Like, people are excited about Valorant for sure, but I just
people aren't talking about
it
as much as they were.
Yeah, I don't feel like the talk is still there all the time. It's not a game that, like, for instance, when somebody talks about esports, I hear about Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I hear about Fortnite and League of Legends. In Valorant's case, I don't hear about it in the case of esports. And once again, that could just be the circles that I'm in. So I could just be an idiot, but yeah, so that's the only esports things we'll take about. Let's talk about best debut game. We got Carry On.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get some Carry On luggage. Sorry. Mortal Shell. I guess I should say so Carry On is Phobia Game Studio. Mortal Shell is Cold Symmetry and Playstack. Raja, an ancient epic, Nodding Heads game. Roki, Polygon Treehouse, and Phasmophobia Kinetic Games.
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia.
No.
Now, is that when you're scared of the silver armored person from the Last Jedi?
Fuck off. You got me on that one. No, we're just going to ghosts. Yeah. I think this one's easy. And I think it's definitely going to have to end up being Phasmophobia.
I think so, because that's the one I hear about. Like, that one is kind of like, what's it called?
It's one of those cult streaming games, like Outlast.
Outlast?
I don't think the game is like Outlast, but like as far as like
what's the one where you're like the little cartoon characters and one of them's an imposter and you're killing each other? Among Us. It's like Among Us, where like it got really popular on streaming out of nowhere. So I feel like Phasmophobia might be a clear guide. However, we might be looking past Raja and Roki because those two look like very, very like gorgeous looking, like just from an artistic perspective or whatever.
Yeah, I'm and when I make that statement, it's not to the quality of the game because
for sure,
Carrion 2 has like a big Switch presence. Like it was like, okay, the game looks really fun, but if this category is based on votes,
right,
I think it's going to be Phasmophobia because that is the one I didn't fucking hear about either one of those two games. I agree,
right,
but that's the first time I've heard about them. So for debut,
so that's what we're thinking. I think that's what we're thinking, plus that might be the actual winner. Here we go. Content Creator of the Year. Alana Pierce, J.N. Lopez, Nick Merckx, Tim the Tatman, or Valkyria. I'll tell you, the only two people I know is Alana Pierce and Tim the Tatman, because I've seen some of his like gameplay with Warzone.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick somebody, like personally, I would say Alana Pierce, because I feel like she's the most well-known. She's on like 8 different podcasts, and it's not just like the KFGD people. It's there. She's on several different groups where she just goes from one to another. Plus, she just got a game at Santa Monica, so there might be some love behind that. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So the only one I haven't heard of is J.N. Lopez. Valkyrie, I have at least heard in terms of gaming. Nick Merckx I've heard of as well. But yeah, as far as that I've seen content of, it's Tim the Tatman or Alana Pierce. I agree. I think the one I would want to win would be Alana, because I feel like she actually, and the category is for streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2020. Yeah. I feel like Alana's done that.
Yeah, Alana's definitely done that. I mean, because she's bisexual, so she's part of the LGBTQ plus community. And like I said, yeah, she's part of several communities. She's not just...
That's the biggest thing. She's everywhere.
Yeah. She is the gaming girl. If Andrea would get off her ass and actually do something, maybe it could have been her. Alana Pierce, she's just everywhere. She's everywhere. All right, so best multiplayer. This one's interesting. Animal Crossing. Ooh. I know it has multiplayer, but should that even fucking count? I don't know. That's just me. I'm throwing that out there. Anyways, Among Us, Call of Duty Warzone, Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, and Valorant. Once again, I'm gonna rule out Valorant, and I'm gonna rule out Animal Crossing. Valorant, like I said, I just don't feel like there's enough talk about it. And Animal Crossing, it has multiplayer, but I don't feel like that's what it's known for. You know what I mean?
I think it's either gonna be Among Us or Warzone.
I don't know, Fall Guys, dude. That was a big craze as well.
It was, but what is being talked about right now?
True.
Warzone
very true.
So
I'll give you that. I would love Among Us to win just because of the story that it's gone through. This is a game that came out in 2018. Nobody really played it, or very few people played it when it first came out. And then out of nowhere, a random streamer, I can't remember his name, so I do apologize, but a streamer got on and started playing it. He was specifically looking for games that not a lot of people play, and he really liked it, and boom, it blew up. I think part of the reason that Among Us got so popular was because of Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Hey, here's these cutesy characters, but now you're playing it on a spaceship, and one of them is killing you and stuff. So I feel like the two have a really good chance, but then Warzone is a Call of Duty quality game.
It's become the battle royale at this point.
It's the Call of Duty quality game, but free to play. That holds a lot of things, but I don't know. This one is a super huge toss up for me. I could see any of those taking the top spot because any of those has a really good community. This is probably the hardest to predict, but if you had to put it, would you still put it on Warzone?
The one that I would choose, and the one that I think is going to win is going to be Among Us. Okay. Just because I feel like it has got, because Warzone still has a lot of shit behind it. Like people are like the cheaters and all that kind of stuff.
Very true, Jared. Very true.
But I wouldn't be surprised if either of those two won. I think those are going to be the two that'll end up. Which, by the way, whoever's watching this or listening to this, if you want to go ahead and do for us our predictions, and we can do that later. That'd be great because we don't have the time to do that. Thanks.
I will definitely say Among Us as well, just because Fall Out Guys had its moment, Warzone had its moment, but I feel like Among Us became, like you told me a story about somebody who's a teacher. You remember?
Oh yeah, a friend of ours. She's a teacher. She's teaches middle school, and she just randomly we were hanging out one day, all of us, a couple friends,
right,
and talking about Among Us, and I was like, they're like, all my kids that's always on their phone, it's like, fuck, like that was Fortnite. And when you have that kind of fucking what's the word I'm looking for, not growth but adoption rate, adoption rate, that's like, okay, that's doing something. That is clearly doing something.
So, I mean, for that reason, I think, well, not your random ass teacher, but the adoption rate. is my reason for picking it. All right, best sports / racing. We got Dirt 5, F1, yay! Freaking British people. FIFA 21, NBA 21, which once again, sports games in general have just been like at a standstill. And then Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I feel like the no-brainer is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think in terms of critically, I would say for sure, because every single one of these, except for maybe Dirt 5, I want to tell to go fuck off. Like 2K21, bullshit. FIFA 21, bullshit. And like I'm sorry.
These are pity nominations because it just happens to be sports, not that they're good.
Yeah, but whereas Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the remake that came out was legitimately good. Like, fuck, this is really... And Dirt 5, I've heard really great things about, so... Yeah.
But I feel like as far as, like, name recognition, ton of people... Like, racing is way more of a niche than, like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, because I feel like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was, like, a lot of people's childhood. So I feel like it's a no-brainer for that one. Let's go best sim and strategy. We got Crusader Kings 3, Desperado, Despacito. Anyways, Gears Tactics. Okay, what's up with this? This seems... I mean, I guess it does say best sim. Did they have nowhere to put Microsoft Flight Simulator? So they're just put it in Sims and Strat... I don't even remember there being a sim category. So did they literally just make it sim and strategy just so they had somewhere to put Microsoft? I mean, I don't know. I'm not one to go on flights or whatever. Anyways, XCOM.
I've heard great things about Flight Simulator, so
I know, but it's also flying around a fucking ship. So pardon me for not giving a rat's ass.
Yeah.
Anyways, XCOM, and that shit. Hey, if you like flying around ships, that's your thing. I'm not putting you down. I'm saying me personally. Why the fuck would I just fly around? What is the object now? If I'm flying around shooting stuff, pew pew pews, then why not? Okay, anyways, XCOM Chimera Squad. I feel like I don't know. I don't know this. I don't know this
category either. Yeah, I would say I could see Gears Tactics winning for name recognition alone.
Yeah, true.
Or Microsoft Flight Sim. Well, so I honestly would think it'd be between Gears Tactics or Flight Sim because there was a lot of hype coming up behind Flight Sim, this year's version, and when it came out, everyone's like, "This is legitimately the best flight simulator ever made." Like it's like one for one incredible. So there was a lot of, is it enough to make up this vote? I mean, most people, I feel like if I'm voting, I'm skipping this category because I can't accurately say anything.
Right. So moving on, best family. This one seems a lot more varied. Obviously, you got Animal Crossing, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, Fall Guys, Mario Kart Live, Minecraft Dungeons, and Paper Mario. If we're talking about like family and whatnot, I could see Animal Crossing being a shoehorn or a shoe-in for it because it is just so cutesy. It's very family friendly. But then Crash Bandicoot came along, and I definitely feel like I have heard absolutely nothing but good when it comes to Crash Bandicoot. Paper Mario, I honestly didn't even know it existed. Like, I'll be honest. And Mario Kart Live, I don't know if enough people have played that. It's so goddamn expensive to get that game. I don't know if enough people know it enough to actually
vote for it.
You know what I mean? And then Fall Guys. So if I had to rank, I'd say it's maybe Animal Crossing, Crash Bandicoot, and Fall Guys in that order. You know what I mean? As far as what's more likely to.
And then Minecraft Dungeons. I don't feel like I've heard anything about that game from.
I did hear that there was a most recent update that made it a lot better, but yeah, I don't know.
This one's hard for me because I feel like I've done the same thing. I've heard the same thing about Crash 4 about it's nothing but incredible. Right. I can't say if it's a good family game because your dad's probably going to be saying fuck a lot playing that game. But like I'm with you. All three of these I can see being easy contenders. Yeah. I've only played Fall Guys out of those three. I haven't played Animal Crossing or Crash 4 yet. But that one's hard because if we're looking at a game, I feel like Crash would win. But if we're looking at best family game,
true.
I feel like that's different, and I don't really know which one it would be.
Yeah. So let's move on. Best fighting, Grand Blue Fantasy, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. Should that count? Didn't that come out like, I don't know. I feel like that came out way before. Anyways, Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, which once again, should that count? Because
I don't know, because that's the same thing with like Mortal Kombat X and then Mortal Kombat XL. Like they re-released it but added new stuff to it. So it's like, I don't
think it should count because all they've really added was DLC. You know, now they might have like remastered certain things, made it a little bit more crisp, but it's like, I don't know if that should count. So One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, Under Night in Birth, blah, blah. So One Punch Man definitely has the proper title. Because I don't fucking know. If I had to choose, it's hard, giggity. But I think Mortal Kombat 11 might have more casual fans, whereas like if we're talking about ESO, that's where the Street Fighter fans come in. But as far as like broad appeal, I feel like Mortal Kombat 11 is a shoo-in for that one as well.
I would say, for sure.
Best role-playing game, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact. Hold on. Genshin Impact. Sorry. Persona 5 Royale. Once again, shouldn't fucking count. Sorry, you were out like 8 fucking years. Well, not 8 years ago, but you were out before, and you came out with a special edition with like an extra dungeon. Why do you need an extra dungeon? You're already 100 fucking hours long to get out of the tutorial. Anyways, Wasteland 3 and Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Oh, this one's interesting.
First time. Like a dragon. Get that loot down in your cave. I feel like this one could be Final Fantasy VII. Once again, more broad appeal or whatever. But Wasteland 3, I feel like if we're talking about like quality, I've heard really good things about, and Yakuza.
Also, your comment you made. Oh, let me ask you this, because and full transparency, I played the opening of the tutorial Genshin Impact, and I haven't touched it again. So you've done it. I have. But I feel like your comment is valid, like you talked about before with Warzone. It's a free-to-play game.
Ooh, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Because the problem with Genshin Impact, and we'll get into this when we're talking about biggest disappointments of the year, spoiler alerts. The problem with Genshin Impact is the fact that it's a gacha game. And so I feel like that's so transparent. In my opinion, that's so transparent when it comes to people are smarter nowadays. I'm sorry. You know, and this might be a different cultures thing, like maybe in Japan and the Asia countries, this is more heavily accepted. But I feel like here in the United States, people are getting a lot more smarter, whether it's because they're watching Jimquisition or they're watching their favorite, people. They're talking out about this kind of stuff more and more, and I don't know. But you do bring up a good point with the free-to-play. I don't know. I feel like the Final Fantasy VII, that was something that was, like, dreamed about ever since PlayStation 3. So I feel like that could be a shoe-in. Best action adventure. Let's just move the fuck on. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ori the Will of the Wisp, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I totally forgot that that's even eligible because that came out in fucking December and that came out in November, but it came out right when the cutoff was. So I totally forgot about that. And The Last of Us Part 2. If Star Wars would have been eligible just in time for Game of the Year, I think Star Wars could have gotten very close, if not making the Game of the Year. So I would love to say Star Wars Fallen Order. But unfortunately, Ghost of Tsushima, Miles fucking Morales, and The Last of Us Part 2 all have come out.
It just doesn't hold a candle.
It doesn't. Really doesn't. That's the unfortunate thing, because it's like if you would remove these other games and you would remove time, then, I mean, yeah, it feels like Star Wars, at this point, it's almost a pity nomination. because it's like it definitely deserves to be nominated, but unfortunately, if it would have been nominated last year, I feel like it could have had a really good chance. But I think Ghost of Tsushima is another shoe-in for me.
I think that in this category, it's going to be either Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, or Miles Morales.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't think Miles Morales as much because it's such a new game. Most people haven't played it. A small portion have because they've actually been able to get their hands on a PS4. Well, no, it's on PS4 too. But anyway, Valhalla has been getting a lot of good praise recently for a new Assassin's Creed game. But I do agree with you for this category. I think Ghost of Tsushima fits it to a T. It is probably an almost perfect action adventure game, like by definition.
Yeah, true. So then best action game. This is the part that's so weird. I know if we look at the description, we got best action game for the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat. And the best action adventure is for the best action adventure game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. So I get it, but I don't know, maybe we should just come up with another descriptor than best action game. Because it's like action and adventure. Like, I don't know. You're pulling fucking strings and hairs and toes at this point, okay? So we got the nominees are Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, Streets of Rage 4. I feel like the top two for me, I think, is Doom Eternal and actually Half-Life Alyx for me.
Yeah.
Although, if we're talking about, because obviously there's a percentage of it that's vote and there's a larger percent of it that's critics. Half-Life Alyx, I guess the thing that I'm not taking into account is the fact that it's a VR only game, and to properly experience it, I don't know how many people are actually experiencing
the adoption rate might not be as high.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So maybe Doom Eternal altogether. Then I don't know.
Doom Eternal. I haven't played. The only one I played on here is Doom Eternal. But when we're looking at, again, a game that completely defines that category, best action game.
Right.
I would say Half-Life Alyx is a contender if more people played it, but Doom Eternal, man. Doom Eternal is it's a great fucking game this year. And it's like the definition of action. You can't get more action than that.
Yeah. So interesting. This is a new one, I think. Innovation and accessibility. Recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed an even wider audience. So yeah, this is definitely a new one, and I think this is talking about more, people who are disabled more being able to play
quality
this.
of life. Yeah, quality of life improvements.
This is really interesting. So we got Valhalla, Grounded, Hyperdot, Last of Us Part 2, and Watch Dogs Legion. The only one I can personally talk about is The Last of Us, and my God, the amount of accessibility options that you had. You could make it go into slow-mo every time you aimed. You could make it where it literally highlighted everything for you so that people who are, hard of seeing could actually see if there was like a collectible on a countertop or something. You know what I mean? Like the amount of stuff that you could do to make it more and more accessible for you, but still keep the difficulty, like, because you could put it at or you could put it at Grounded, which is the highest amount, or which is the highest difficulty, but still have all these accessibility things to somewhat make it easier for you, or you're a disabled person and needs those things, So so if that's nominated plus all these other ones, I wonder what the other ones did that is as much as Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, that's what kind of sucks about this category is it doesn't give you what they're doing. Like The Last of Us Part 2, obviously, if you played it, you've seen that. I think it's probably similar features along these games, maybe not done as well, but yeah, either Valhalla or Last of Us Part 2, I would say. That's winning.
All right, so looks like we're about halfway. So we might need to take a quick music break. and then get back in, do the second half of the list. So come at us so far. What are your guys' thoughts so far on everything? Let us know. We'll be right back with some music after. Hold on, we got to get to the right.
After we fill time.
After we fill time. Okay, and bye.
'Cause I've been thinking about what I wanna do. 'Cause I never ever thought it through.
Come here, baby. Hi. Hey. Say hi, everybody. Hold on, I need to switch to the right screen. There we go. Hi, everybody. The last segment is guest starring Madeline. Mommy went to go take her back, and she's like, "No, I want my daddy."
No.
I can't say no to that. Like,
what is love? It is a baby.
Hey, you want your binky? Want your binky? There we go. All right. So next category. Best VR and AR, which that's weird. Is there any AR games on this? No. So why the hell is AR? I guess this is back.
There was an AR game last year. Yeah.
Unless there was a, Pokemon Go was a part of this, and so that's why they even had AR in that. All right. So best VR and AR. So we got Dreams from Media Molecule, Half-Life Alyx, Marvel's Iron Man, Star Wars Squadron, and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. No.
I think it's 100% between Half-Life Alyx and Saints and Sinners.
Yeah, I could say that, but then I feel like I did hear some good stuff about Iron Man. Or at least Squadrons, for that matter, you know what I mean?
Well, so the problem with Squadrons and Iron Man were both good games, I think. But they had a lot more problems than more people enjoyed. Like Iron Man in particular had a level of jank to it that was like, this is a fun experience, but man, I've had better VR experiences. And Squadrons just kind of got boring for some people. But if we're talking about best game from like a VR perspective, that would be one of those two, because Half-Life Alyx is developed from the ground up as a VR game.
Yeah.
Saints and
Sinners was the same way, right? It was built from the ground up.
Correct, and it's probably one of the best Walking Dead zombie interpretations in a game, VR-wise, that we've seen.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to agree. I feel like it might be a toss-up.
It might be more Saints and Sinners because more people were able to play that, because that came to place.
It came to more consoles.
PSVR, right?
Yeah. So that's a good point. I feel like Alyx, just because there is that kind of Half-Life desire that people have, So I don't know. Yeah. All right. So best community support. Destiny is here for the however many year it's been there. Then obviously we have Apex Legends, Fall Guys, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, and Valorant. I feel like No Man's Sky is also one that's been there since it began, and so there's definitely a reason for it to be nominated. But yeah, that one's an interesting. What are you thinking?
Oh, I think it's going to be Fall Guys without a doubt, because.
Yeah. Do you think it'll take the mantle? Because I feel like Fortnite was a shoe-in almost every year, and then
it's going to be between. Honestly, I think it's going to be between Destiny 2 and Fall Guys, because Destiny 2, since splitting from Activision, have done nothing but stellar community support.
Yeah.
And especially
plus Beyond Light just came out like not too long ago, right?
Right. And Fall Guys has that basically underdog success story where because of their social media platform, this game did gangbusters.
Yeah.
So
it started from the bottom, but now it's here.
Oh, it's here. Apex Legends. I'm just gonna say no. The simple answer is no. I'm sorry. It's just not. And then I think Fortnite has just kind of, I'm not gonna say fallen off, because it's still a good game, but
I'll agree. I definitely don't think it's talked about as much. Not that it's not talked about, but it's not talked about as much. So yeah. So let's go. Best mobile game: Among Us, Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra. I don't know what the fuck that is. And Pokemon Cafe Mix.
Sure.
So behind the scenes, Pokemon Cafe Mix is legitimately one of the easiest freaking mobile games. Like, they clearly made this with 2-year-olds in mind. Like, I could probably get Maddie to play it, and she would accidentally win all the time. I would say this could be a toss-up between Call of Duty Mobile and Among Us.
I'm thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be between those two.
Like, I would wager a bet if it doesn't win its previous nomination, it very well could take mobile. That is Among Us. Sorry, I didn't say that. Among Us could take mobile if it doesn't take multiplayer. So, best indie. So we got Carry On, we got Fall Guys, Hades,
My Wayward
Spelunky 2. What? What'd you say?
You said we got Carry On. I said My Wayward Son.
You're silly. Shut the fuck up. And then Spirit Fair. I feel like Fall Guys is the most known.
Man, I think it's going to be Hades on this one, 100%.
Really? I do hear a lot of good things about it, but also Spelunky is nothing to shake a furry jagged stick at. Now this is weird. Best ongoing. I thought that's what the best community was for, but I guess not.
No.
That's weird. So best ongoing, once again, Destiny's there, Fortnite is there, Apex is there, No Man's Sky is there, and Warzone. So, I would love, this is a personal, not what my actual prediction is, I would love Warzone to get it because we're going to get stuff from Cold War. And then whatever the next Call of Duty is, we're going to get it from that as well.
It's either going to be Destiny 2 or Warzone. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be Destiny 2 or Warzone. And that's either because Beyond Light and, of course, the Cold War, like you're talking about. Yeah. Anytime Apex Legends is on this list, I'm like, fuck off. No, there's just nothing to it. So.
And see, now that is a circle that I'm a part of. I might not actively participate in it, but it is a circle that I see. I see the circle and I see the conversation going around it. And in general, that conversation has just died down exponentially.
Yeah. The next category, I don't feel like either of us can really talk about. It's games for impact.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think any of us have played this game.
Tell me why we wouldn't have.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Tell me why is the only one I have personally heard of. So that might have something to do with it. But this is an important category, and I'm not downplaying that. It's just I don't know these games. I can't tell you what would win or wouldn't, honestly. Now
we got If Found, Kentucky Route Zero. What the fuck? TV edition. Like, I don't know what the hell that means. Spirit Fair. Tell me why. Through the Darkest of Times. I want to say Through the Darkest of Times because that seems like an allegory for fucking 2020.
Right.
Oh, man. So best performance. We got Ashley Johnson as Ellie. Laura Bailey as Abby. Not Even Gonna Try as Not Even Gonna Try. You want to try?
Daisuke Tsuyoji, Jin Sakai, the voice actor for Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima.
There you go. And then we got Logan Cunningham as Hades, and Najee Jeter as Miles Morales. Oh my god. I don't know, because if we're talking about performance,
I feel like we got to give it to Ashley Johnson, don't you?
Either that or Laura Bailey is just as well. Because if we're not talking about the story and the whole, bullshit behind the scenes or whatever that, like, Twitter just decided to explode on, if we're not talking about that stuff, I feel like Last of Us has a really good, chance over all of these. But there is that butthurtery that the Last of Us community is a part of because, I don't know how to explain it, there's a lot of fucking butthurt people, and And so I could see that playing a huge factor. And so then the person who played Jin Seika could end up
Sakai.
winning it because of that. You know what I mean?
No, here's the thing. I think if The Last of Us doesn't win it, it's going to be Miles Morales. No offense to the voice actor who played Jin Sakai. The beautiful part about that game is not the main character.
Okay.
I mean, it's a great character, but if we're looking at performance, I think that it's got to be either The Last of Us or Miles Morales.
Yeah. So best audio design.
This one's interesting.
I don't know if he can hear me.
Ghost of Tsushima, I can't hear you, man.
Resident Evil. And then Last of Us Part 2. So if you didn't hear me, Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil, and Last of Us Part 2. Now, if we're talking about audio alone, the number one I can attest to is Last of Us. The audio in that was crystal clear. Not only that, but like killing somebody and like hearing them like the blood gargling in their lungs and throat or whatever. And then, you know, the call outs like, oh, they killed Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Doom Eternal, as much as like I'm sure they have great audio, most of it's probably
Yeah, I mean, it does. I can attest that it does have a really good sound design to it, but I can tell you for a fact Ghost of Tsushima doesn't. I mean, it's got great sound design, and it is really good, but it's nothing. And I'm going to school for audio production. There's nothing about it that stands out to me as like, oh, this is perfect over everything else.
Yeah.
Half-Life Alyx, on the other hand, that's a different story.
Babe, no.
That is definitely one of those that's one of the things they really paid attention to, like little clatters, little things, like every movement you can make in that game is going to produce a sound, which only leads to the immersion.
Yeah, true.
So if we're talking technically, I think Half-Life Alyx is the best one out of this list. But if we're talking about votes,
yeah,
I could see it either being Eternal, Alyx, or Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. Then let's go best score and music. So then we have Doom Eternal, composed by Mick Gordon. Final Fantasy VII, honey, Final Fantasy VII, composed by those people. I'll try this one. Mashi Hazua and Mitsubishi Suzuki.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry,
everyone.
Hades, composed by Darren Korb. Ori and the Will of the Wisp, composed by Gareth. And Last of Us Part 2 by Gustavo.
Yeah, Santuola. I think it's going to be Last of Us Part 2. I don't think it has any competition. I mean, it does have competition as far as Will of the Wisps does have a beautiful score. I'm sure Final Fantasy Remake does. I'm not going to call Doom Eternal a beautiful score. It's a good score, but if I remember correctly, I feel like when The Last of Us came out, he won that category for score, and rightfully so. The music that this man produces and composes is just like astounding. I love it. I can't speak to Hades because Hades is a game I didn't play.
Right.
But that would be my pick.
You said Last of Us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that might be a shoe-in just because it does have like but at the same time I feel like there's enough of that, you know, game that doesn't have music that maybe one game that the music is a part of everything. So maybe Ori and the Will of the Wisp, maybe that has a better chance because the music is way more about like every moment of that game. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So best art direction. So we got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori of the Will of the Wisp, and Last of Us Part 2. Now this happened last year, where like Red Dead Redemption, for instance, was just on every freaking category, even if it didn't make any goddamn sense to be there. Okay, now
almost all the Game of
best
the Year
art
nominees
and direction,
are here.
exactly. Best art and direction for outstanding creative and technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Now, I'm not saying, please let me be extremely clear. I'm not saying that it doesn't take artists to make a realistic looking person's face. Then take that face and animate it to look like a real person. I'm not saying that. However, what I am saying is that if we're talking artistic design and animation, if we're going by that alone, something like Hades or Ori and the Will of the Wisp are the games that deserve to be here, and then the other games are just here
based on technical achievement.
I guess so.
That's the biggest thing about this category is they both have merit. The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima I could speak to. The art direction in that game, the technical things that's the best part about that game is the art direction.
They need to separate it. They need to separate technical achievement.
Yeah, I can agree.
Artistic design. But
because
what
I feel like every one
technical achievement in artistic design. So that's the part that I don't agree with, is that we're not talking about technical achievement, then artistic design. We're talking about it as if it's one. And that, for me, is the part that, and maybe I'm looking too much into it, and I'm totally willing to admit that. But for me, it's just like,
well, it makes it really hard because it's one of those that every single one of these I could see winning. And, it would be valid if they did. One winning wouldn't invalidate the other, but yes, there are things that. Were we talking over each other for a second there?
I don't know, possibly.
Okay, because I think the internet went like completely for a second.
Your picture did, that's for sure.
Oh god, I'm frozen. Why am I frozen?
You're not frozen on my screen.
Okay, good. But yeah, I can't say who would win this category because I feel like all of them have a very solid chance.
If I had to take a guess, and I'm just gonna, this might be a personal thing or this might be like what will actually win, but honestly, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, what I've seen of that game is absolutely gorgeous. In The Last of Us Part 2, everything looks realistic. The textures of the buildings and how they're, they have overgrowth on them. The characters' faces, the way they animate, the way when somebody's dying, you can see like the life coming out of them, and what I have seen of Ghost of Tsushima and Final Fantasy VII, they look like good games. They really do. But Ori and the Will of the Wisp is so gorgeous. Yeah. It is like a living painting. And for me, I hope it wins for that reason. Because if it's best art direction, I'm sorry, I'm not putting down Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us and saying that they're not artists. But what I'm saying is that when you have a game that is literally a painting come to life, like that's the one that should win. It shouldn't be Red Dead Redemption for the 80th fucking time, okay? Right. Yes, I'm a little fucking... I'm a little, pissed off from last year, but still, god damn it. Best narrative for outstanding storytelling, narrative development in a game. So we have 13 Sentinels and Argus Rim. Don't know what the fuck that is. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us Part 2. Hades, I don't know, like, there might be a narrative in Hades.
There is, but it's not like... I feel like
it shouldn't... I know this is horrible. I don't think it should count. It's a roguelike. So it's like, how much story could they really have? Once again, I haven't played it, so very well, it could have story coming out the yin-yang. But like for me, it's like, it's a roguelike. How the hell could you really tell a cohesive story when there are random elements throughout? So anyways.
And here's the thing about Final Fantasy VII Remake. This does count, correct? Because they did make changes, right? To the story?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Last of Us Part 2... You can speak to more than I can, so I'll let you handle that. Ghost of Tsushima, again, I think what is fantastic about this game is the technical achievement that it is. All the systems and the way everything works. The story is fine. I'm invested in it, but I'm not going to say that it's got... I can almost guarantee without even having played it that Part 2 is going to be a much better story than Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I mean... The thing is, I can't give too much away because you still haven't played it, right?
Correct. I just said I have not played.
Sorry, you said it. I'm sorry. The problem with it, I can't go into details, obviously, but the problem with it is its narrative. I would say literally every other aspect, the sound design, the combat, even parts of the story is really great, but there you hit a certain part of the story, and it's just so. And while I can still look at it, let me put it this way: when I look at it as an entire game, when I zoom out, I see it as a really good game and a really good narrative. But in the moment when that one thing happens, and halfway through the narrative kind of does something, in that moment I was like, this is fucking stupid. Why am I doing this? So I get why people didn't like it. I get why there was kind of the animosity, at least from a storytelling perspective. When you start talking about, oh, there's a trans person. No, they're fucking, shut the fuck up. Anyways, there's a trans person who had a sex scene. It's like, no, a person can be buff and be a woman, you fucking ingrates. Anyways, best game direction. Oh, wait, I guess I didn't say my choice. That one's hard because I think Last of Us, but also I do feel like plenty of people had problems with its narrative. So I could see Final Fantasy VII winning that one. So, okay, now best game direction. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and Last of Us Part 2. So now if we're talking about the direction, I also could see that going to Last of Us because of Neil Druckmann or Dr. Uckman. People who play the game know what I'm talking about.
I'm having connectivity issues here, apparently. Okay, no, you're good.
Try to wiggle your dong hole.
My dong hole.
Dong hole.
Yeah, this is... Again, these are hard categories. These are the hardest categories because every single one of these games has an amount of polish on it that we don't see with a lot of others. And everything about these games, like I said, Ghost of Tsushima, the systems that it uses, it's like I'm fucking blown away. Like it's the easiest, most simplest to understand video game I've ever played, and that's how it's designed. But Final Fantasy VII Remake is a feat in and of itself because it's basically a brand new Final Fantasy game, like just and I guess in most different ways. And again, Last of Us Part 2, I feel like is the technical achievement that Red Dead Redemption was last year or 2018.
Yeah,
in my opinion. So
if we're talking about directors, yeah, I feel like The Last of Us might get it there, just because. Yeah, just because I guess I don't need a fucking reason.
Yeah.
So is that your guess or?
I would say Last of Us. Yeah.
Okay. So then we got Game of the Year: Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing, and Last of Us Part 2. One thing I would like to. What?
So a lot of these games look familiar. It's not like we haven't seen them for the past 7 categories.
The one thing I will point out, Doom is the only one that hasn't been in the last couple of categories, which I know doesn't mean anything, but when I think of Game of the Year, I do think of something that culminates everything that makes a game into one thing. And while Doom Eternal might itself be a good game from a gameplay perspective, I don't feel like overall it is the best game.
When we compare Doom to the rest of the games on here, it is hard, but this might be one of my favorite Game of the Year lists that we've seen so far, because a lot of this seems like it is because these games are not just popular and mainstream, but they're actual, like Hades isn't mainstream in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
Like most gamers aren't roguelike players, and I'm being very, broad strokes with that, but this list looks like a list of people like, hey, what are the best games that came out this year? Not, hey, how many people are playing Red Dead,
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated to see how this is going to end up shaking out, because
if we're going from a critical and how it was received by the audience, I feel like Ghost of Tsushima is a definite win. Because while it did great critically, from an audience perspective, The Last of Us didn't do that great. Now, I don't agree with that. I think a lot of people were being whiny little babies about it. However, once again, when I'm talking about just the narrative, okay, yeah, the narrative has some problems. And so right there, that's where I have to give that like a dock. I have to dock a point for it. Ghost of Tsushima, I feel like when that came out, that's all everybody could talk about. They're like, oh my God, this is such a great ending to the generation. This is such a great game. Not only that, but it's like it takes a completely different culture and it treats it with the utmost respect. You know,
I do think
from an American or whatever company.
Which is funny to me. A lot of people were expecting The Last of Us Part 2 to be the swan song for the PS4.
Right.
Like The Last of Us was. I actually think Ghost of Tsushima is the swan song for the PS4 generation. Because like you said, it critically did well. By the audience, it did well. And it is an actual good like testament to this is how a game should be like made. Like everything fits perfectly. Now, where are you at when it comes to Final Fantasy Remake compared to the other games on this list, having played it?
I haven't played.
Do you think it?
I haven't played.
Oh,
Final
you
Fantasy.
haven't?
Oh, no, I haven't. No. However, it's like I still feel like that one, as much as it's probably a really good game on its own merit, I do feel like that one might be a pity nomination because
no, I think that's by popularity because that was a huge
okay.
game
Let's put it
this
that way
year.
then. Let's put it that way because as far as like game of the year, I definitely don't see a remake being a game of the year. Although Resident Evil 2 was game of the year last year,
That's
or
true,
game of the year
and I feel like it has that same amount of polish.
I guess. But I just feel like if we're going by critical and audience, I feel like Ghost of Tsushima is the obvious choice. So
Yeah, I would say so because I can't speak to Hades or Animal Crossing.
And another thing that we didn't even mention, they came out with a multiplayer free for everybody, and it actually has like a Destiny light kind of raid, and there's like a gear system to it, and you actually have to like level. And this is something that like could have been its own game, and yet you get it for free. Like that's something commendable that definitely should be brought up. Meanwhile, Last of Us 2 is like, you guys want New Game Plus? Yeah.
Do you want to get?
They haven't even had their multiplayer. Like if you think about it, they haven't even come out with their multiplayer. Meanwhile, Ghost of Tsushima did come out with the multiplayer. It was a banger that no one expected, literally because we didn't even know it existed. Meanwhile, Last of Us was talking about how they were going to do multiplayer, and then I'm sure COVID and everything that probably didn't help or whatever. But point being is that like we didn't get that, and yet we did get it for Ghost of Tsushima. I feel like that should be a notch in its belt or whatever.
You're making a lot of really valid points for Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not even going to lie because I wasn't expecting it to win. I thought Last of Us was going to take it, but that's really good points.
Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like even the people who really love, like if we're talking about like the KF people and most of the IGN people, even the people who really liked Last of Us Part 2 did nothing but sing its praises when Ghost of Tsushima came out.
Yep.
So I feel like from that alone, if I'm just kind of going by my personal podcast circle, I feel like it's just super obvious or whatever. So that's our predictions. That's what we think. We'll see how many of them we got right on, what was it, December 10?
Yep, December 10th.
Oh, I got that right. Good job, Nick. So we're definitely going to watch it. I don't know if we'll do a live watch along. I haven't done a live watch along for something like this in a very I feel like if anything, it might actually ruin it just because it's like having us dipshits talk over it.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of times where I'm just going to be like, guys, come on. Just get around. But I definitely think right afterward, well, maybe not right after, but afterwards, you definitely can expect our reactions to it, our favorite trailers that were revealed, everything like that. We can definitely expect that from us. So right now, we're going to go into some more of music, and then you have Zomcast for the rest of the broadcast. So look forward to that. Thank you guys so much. I was Nick.
And I was Nate.
Thank you for joining us for Weekly Nerdy News. And on to... Why wasn't I already prepared for this, honestly?
Fire
me, Nate.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. You done fucked now. All fucked up now.
Hey. I'm back in my bed. Hey. They let's see me rap again. Hey. Let's go. I'm just one man. Pull up solo. She drive a white Beetle.